Gents, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing okay. Every man should be capable of being a monster. Now look, I know in 2026 off the bat that sounds wild. You know, we live in a world where, a lot of, if not most, of masculine traits get accused of being toxically masculine. And guys feel like they've got to tread very, very carefully with anything and everything that they do. Look, this concept was originally put forward by Professor Jordan Peterson a few years ago. For me, I think it's some of his finest work. The idea that as men, we should be able to be extremely dangerous. If a situation arises where we need to exert high aggression, where we need to stamp our authority, where we need to maybe even protect people that we love, we should be able to do so. Because the reality is right now we live in a world where a lot of guys do not have that capability. For generations now, without going too political, masculinity has been suppressed on a societal level. And you guys watching this video understand that. And with most of you guys, I would say this isn't even a debate. This is something accepted. This is something known. Almost a fact. But there are a generation of young guys right now who are growing up and trying to navigate the world. But they've been brought up in this way and they've been raised in this way where any sign of strength is deemed as toxic. Any sign of power is deemed as toxic. And look, those things used to the absolute extremities can be very toxic. And I don't condone that. But this concept, a man should be capable of being a monster, speaks to how I think things should be. You should be able to resolve a situation. You should be able to protect your family by any means necessary. You should be able to, at a young age, almost split the earth's core. That's what the message is trying to get across. If necessary, you can do it. But a lot of guys are, as I said, demonstrating in their view that any sign of power, any sign of strength is toxic. And that they would never do that. I would never, ever, display aggression. I would never, ever display anything that isn't nice. And it's not true. But they say this in a sense that this is some kind of moral win. And they say they're a peaceful person. They'd never be violent. They'd never be aggressive, no matter the circumstances. And they wave it like it's a moral win. But the reality is, there's no morality in that claim. Because quite simply, the only reason that they abstinate from, ever needing to do something nasty, right? I say that in quotation marks. Ever needing to be physical, ever needing to demonstrate monstrous capabilities, it's because they're not capable. It's because maybe they're physically inept. Because they never took the time to develop a strong and respectable physique. Because they never took the time to learn self-defense. To learn how to look after themselves. So as I said, we have a bunch of guys right now who are condemning any sign of strength. And strength is necessary. Without guys in society who are capable of dangerous things, of monstrous things, there's no order. There's no order, there's chaos. There's absolute chaos because there's no law. There's nothing to respect. And look, most dangerous guys, and I would say really dangerous guys, they don't show people they're dangerous. They don't feel the need to exert physical force. They don't feel the need to remind everybody of their strength. They're just quietly respected. This is the wonderful thing about martial arts. This is why I try and use this channel to get people to go and join a boxing class or go and join a MMA class and get themselves into jiu-jitsu or something like that, because it teaches you, one, humility, but also how to harness and use your own strength in the right ways. It teaches you regulation, self-regulation. You know how to use these techniques. You know how to disarm somebody. You know how to put somebody to sleep. But yet you choose not to do it. You choose not to do it because you know it's not the right thing. However, if a circumstances arises where you need to do it, you can do it and you will do it. So when I say, and Peterson says, become a dangerous man, we're not talking about becoming a man who just goes around assaulting people. We're not talking about becoming a man who is, emotionally volatile and out of control. We're talking about being capable of exerting yourself if necessary. And a lot of guys that, hate on training martial arts and call it toxic, or hate on getting into the gym and call it toxic, I feel very sorry for them. But the reality is there's no morality in what they say. It's not a moral thing to abstain from something because you can't do it, because you're not capable of doing it. That's just convenience. If you're watching this video, the chances are, you're a guy who thinks in a similar way. But I would ask you to question yourself this. Are you actively engaging in some kind of form of physical training that aids you to become more dangerous? Maybe you're lifting weights, that's great, it's a good start. But if, you haven't got into some kind of martial art, even on a recreational basis, even on a basis where it's, once a week, or hey, even once every couple of weeks, doing some training, MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, I would ask you why. Why are you not doing that? If you want a family one day, hey, even if you just want a nice life with your future wife, you need to be able to protect the things that you have. And again, I'm not saying go out and turn into a bad guy. No, I'm not saying go out and try and get yourself in the UFC. You don't need to be at that level. You just need to be able to look after yourself and the people you love better than the average man. That's the point. And to do that, you need to put yourself in a position where you are tested. Put yourself in environments where you are physically and mentally challenged. And within those environments, the monster within you will be trained in a controlled and regulated way. So that if you ever need to use it, you know exactly how to use it effectively and in a way whereby you are producing the least damage possible. But if you neglect this and you don't learn how to fight and you don't learn how to yield that monster within you, that's where you may find yourself in a difficult situation. So look, get yourself into some kind of physical training. Preferably some kind of self-defense training. It's going to allow you to develop a skill set, to develop an arsenal that can help you to defend yourself in the future and the people that you care about. Again, the main point of this video is to say that you should be capable of being a monster, yet choose not to 99% of the time. That is moral. There is virtue in that, because you could cause chaos, you could be destructive, but yet you choose not to because you know it's the right thing. But if you can't defend yourself, there's no morality in abstaining from violence and condemning it. No. There's real morality in being capable of doing bad things and dangerous things, but choosing not to because you know it's the right thing. So make the right choice. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash the like button. Comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you think of this topic. For me, it's something really interesting. And look, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. If I've just popped up on your page, it helps me. I'm a small creator and I want to grow as much as possible. Every single one of you helps me to do that. If you've been subscribing for a while, be sure to share the channel with a friend of yours. If you think somebody else might benefit from these videos, send it to them. I'd love to have them here. Referrals like that help me to grow even more. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for your time and your attention, and I'll see you in the next one.